What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Breaking news. Now, it's funny how quick things can change in the world of boxing. Just did a video about Carl Froch. He was doing an interview, and basically he was stating that he'd rather fight Chavez Jr. in Las Vegas, and it makes more sense to him, but George Groves is a possible opponent down the future, yada yada. He also said that his team offered George Groves a rematch, a seven-figure rematch, and George Groves, for some unheard of reason, even though he wanted the fight, turned it down. Now it looks like everything is explained. So George Groves took to Twitter, and this is what he says: Chavez Jr. is scheduled to fight Vera. Carl Froch fighting for his fans, but his fans booed him out of the arena. Joker still need humbling. Then he also put, "Oh dear, IBF ordered immediate rematch with me and Carl Froch. Maybe I was right after all, turning down that, quote, amazing seven-figure offer, haha." Then he said, "Now everyone understands Carl Froch's press release today wants to move on. Hold on, honey. IBF says no, no, no. Rematch or vacate. Ha ha ha." So basically, George Groves got his wish. He put in a request through the IBF to have that immediate rematch. Now the IBF is saying that Carl Froch needs to rematch him immediately or vacate. And I think the only way to get around that is if Carl Froch had an actual on schedule fight already. Then obviously he's not going to break the contract of one fight to make a rematch. But since he doesn't have anything on the books, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Carl Froch must rematch per IBF, rematch George Groves in his next fight. And if he does not, then he has to relinquish his belt. So for George Groves, props, man. I mean, it's checkmate. This is, I told people all along, this is chess, not checkers. You got to play the game how it's supposed to be played. And George Groves did his thing. He had a brilliant performance against Carl Froch. Unfortunate accident, premature stoppage in the first. The fans beckoned for this rematch. And I said in my video, watch the video. I did the whole video before I even had any notion of this. So it's kind of funny because I was saying the same thing. I told the audience that a fight with George Groves needs to happen, and it should happen before Chavez Jr., namely because Chavez Jr. hasn't looked all too impressive. Yeah, boxing's a business. It's a big money fight, but so is the rematch. In the UK, if you do a rematch in a controversial fight with two UK fighters, a lot of people grew admiration for George Groves, as he said. I mean, Carl Froch, they were pro Froch beginning the fight, and then when they seen the bullshit stoppage, they were cheering for George Groves and booing Carl Froch. So that's a huge money fight. And I said in the video, that might even be bigger than a Chavez Jr. fight in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas doesn't have a strictly like Hispanic or high Hispanic population. I mean, it's a melting pot. They have Hispanic and Mexican people there just like any other race, but it's not like an area that's known for having a high population of Mexican people like a Texas or a California or whatever. So I'm really happy that George Groves is getting this opportunity. Really, Carl Froch, if he vacates, then I mean, that's gonna look really bad on him. If he decides to vacate the belt to not fight George Groves and instead fight Chavez Jr. for a big money fight, especially for a fighter who's quote unquote considered a warrior, the people's champion, it's gonna speak volumes if he says, "Fuck the people, I'm going after this Chavez Jr. payday." Especially since we don't know what Chavez Jr. is going to even look like against Brian Vera in the rematch. So, looks like a little bit of karma. All is right in the world of boxing. I'm glad George Groves is getting this opportunity. I think he deserves it. And I think far too many times we see fighters who take the big money fight route instead of the fight that's rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Amir Khan and Floyd Mayweather. There's other guys in line. That's why I've always, since they've talked about it recently, I've always been against that. Just because there's people who live and die, live and breathe boxing and make all these sacrifices, getting up at 3 a.m. to go jogging and all kinds of stuff. And because you feel a fighter has a bigger name, that's the fight that gets made. That's bullshit. Let's get it back to the real boxing, what it's supposed to be, the best versus the best, and setting the record straight. If you had a shitty performance, set the record straight. Holyfield, Bo, like we need to get back to that where boxing is about boxing. It still could be a business, but I firmly believe that in making great fights, you're also appeasing the business side, because these are the fights that fans want to see. Fans want to see Nonito Donaire versus Guillermo Rigondeaux too. And some people will disagree, like, oh, da da da. But these are fans that, or these are fights fans want to see. Fans want to see these rematches happen that make sense, that need to happen. Not some fucking bullshit fight like you just pick two names out of a hat. Anyway, I'm done with my rant. Props to George Groves. Shout out to the whole UK. And I'm glad. I want to see this rematch. And we'll really set the record straight, which is what Carl Froch should have been doing from the beginning. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video. It's Ego signing off.